Okay, welcome back. Today we're talking about how to aerate your lawn. Now, I don't know if you say aerate or aerate, but it's one of those. So we're going to talk about the tools you can use, stuff that beginners can do too. You don't have to have a professional crew, although if you have a big lawn, you might want to have a professional crew. So we want to give some tips for both of those and what kind of machinery is going to be used, what kind of tools you can use. So today we're here with Jerry McMillan. He's had 40 years of experience in the landscape and lawn care business, and he's going to tell you about what his experience has shown throughout the years of why you aerate and how you can do it.
Yeah, sounds good.
So how does lawn aeration work? What does it do to the lawn, and why would we want to do it in our lawns?
Well, it works by taking the yard and putting holes in it so that seed and water can settle in these holes, and almost every area will look good when you begins to come along. That's basically why we do it, and it's a good thing to do about every year, once a year. Say around September the 1st, that's in this area, and the weather's about right. The rain is periodic. When it don't rain, you're going to have to water, but using different types of things to loosen up soil. I've even used garden tillers. Get into nooks and crannies around the house. You can't use a big aerator, so you'll use a little piece of equipment. Someone with a stiff rake garden rake can level it out, and you can work that into it. It all looks good if you do it evenly all over. So that's what we do, and it's a lot of fun.
So the reason you're putting those holes down in there is to get air, water, and some nutrients, maybe even fertilizer, get down to the roots.
Right. Well, everything won't wash off the hill that way. Even if it's a slow area or a hard soil, sometimes hard soil is hard to get grass to grow, so you just poke it full of those holes, and you can run over it several times and make you many more. The first time we usually have holes about every 6 inches, but running over it several times is good for it too. And that's what it does. It gives the ground a place for seed to settle, grass and moisture to begin to soften up those hard areas, and the grass then has a way of growing in a hard area.
Is it necessary to always use hollow tines, the ones that pull up those plugs?
Oh no, if it was, I'd be in trouble, because lots of lawns, I use that spiker because you'll run into an area over, say 4 or 5 places throughout the yard where the soil is totally bare, but never been growing good, but it does grow real good in other areas. So you use that spiker in lots of areas that are doing well, but when you come to a hard area, you can kind of use it to till into the soil, and then you can level it out with it. So the spiker works good in a lot of areas. So you're not handicapped with one specific kind. I've used them all. I've used the plugger, the kind that pulls out the soil. I've used the spiker, which is a real good one also. You can add different weights to any of them, make them work. Sometimes a garden tiller in areas where you can't get your big aerator to go into. It's too wide, or say your mower can't back it in there. So I have to use a garden tiller sometimes.
Yeah, I remember at times, maybe when you weren't looking, I would stand on that one we'd pull behind the mowers to get some extra weight on it. Could you just, if you had a small area, could you use like a stiff rake? Something that's more like a hand tool?
I guess you could. There's a lot of homeowners I've worked for that had real small lawns, and it's not a bad thing just to take a little area here, a little area there, small areas, kind of work them up with a garden rake and forward and backward will do that. And if you can just get it a ½ inch down worked up, it'll work for you to put some seed and stuff down by hand and get it started that way. I've done a lot of nooks and crannies where you have to get it to come
What
along.
about using a pitchfork? I mean, that would be more directed where you're making the actual holes.
Well, I've never done that. I've got pitchforks for the mulch, and I had a real small area that needed the holes. Probably could use that garden tiller that would go in there and work those areas up. Yeah, it'll cut the ground up, and you can till it about as deep as you want to go, and then level it out with a stiff rake after you're done. Well, I've done a lot of lawns. I've worked with a lot of people in different sizes and different shapes, different levels. Some of them will be sloped down a hill, and some will be flat and level. You just do the best you can with what they give you to work with. If it's a lawn that's reasonably established, you can use a spiker, we call them. It just has points in the ground, and there's a lot of weight you can add to it depending on what you want, but you just want it to poke in the ground about 2 inches, and it just walks all over it, and it gives you those areas for the seed and the water to settle in, and it helps the grass to grow without being dry in some areas and wet in other areas. Sometimes you have to use the kind that we call pluggers. It pulls out little pieces of the soil, makes a plug about 2 inches deep, it's hollow, and it's easy a lot of times. I've used them from 36 inches to 60 inches. It depends on the kind of lawn you've got and what the people are expecting. So you can pull it behind your lawnmower. Just drive around on the lawn, and eventually you've got it all worked up, and that really helps, and it's a lot of fun. I love to go back and work periodically and see the way it's come along from what we've done. It really is. I enjoy it.
All right, well, we hope that this has helped you with some advice, some tips on how you can aerate your lawn. You can do as small a patch as you want all the way up to your entire lawn, and so we've given you some ideas on what you can use. And so we appreciate you coming by. Click like, subscribe. It'll help us out on our channel. And we appreciate you stopping by, and come back next time. We'll have lots more videos.
I enjoy talking with people about the things I've done, and I'm slowing down a little bit now. But there's people working for me. They're still doing the jobs I used to do. I'll check them out, and I enjoy seeing the experience pay off.